Hello again, and welcome to another devlog about Drifters, our 4-player co-op shooter coming to Quest and Steam VR later this year. I'm Yassine, and I'll be answering a couple of our players' questions. I'll also be sharing a little bit more about our development so far. First, an update on our wishlist count. Nothing too crazy this week. We just reached 1,800 wishlists. And one of our commenters on our last video, Mr. Treebushfire, asked a few questions about our team size and how we were able to support Sweet Surrender for so long. Our core team right now is 5 people employed full-time. We also work with key contributors and freelancers as needed. Most of our partners, freelancers, are long-term collaborators. 5 people is both a tiny team for a game and also quite big for indie VR. How were we able to support Sweet Surrender for the last 5 years? Basically, we did most of our updates in short bursts. As much as we could, we tried not to involve the whole team. If you'll notice, the last couple years, most of our updates have been very programmer heavy, with little new art and especially no new maps or rooms. So we mainly focused on systems we could expand easily with just a programmer and a designer's time. This has been primarily focused on the chips upgrade and expanding those systems. And of course, the PSVR 2 port we did last year. In summary, we kept supporting Sweet Surrender by limiting what resources we focused on it. And sometimes it took a bit away from the development of Drifters, but we tried to keep these things in balance throughout. Mr. Treebushfire also asked for us to share how many units we sold on Sweet Surrender. I was planning to make a big blog post, and I may still do so in the future, but it's easier to just talk about it. Lifetime, on Quest, we sold over 31,000 units. On Steam, we're at 6,300, and on PSVR 2, we're just under 2K units sold. The mix of units is some at full price and some at discounts, of course. And we also were in the Quest Plus program, which is now called Horizon Plus, from October 2024 until September 2025. Now, I can't disclose the exact amount of compensation we received for that, but it was a significant amount, which really helped us with our Drifters development. In summary, 39,000 units, which sounds like a lot, but if you spread that over 5 years, it's not that much. If you do the back of the envelope calculations, you may ask, how do we support ourselves? In parallel to Sweet Surrender and Drifters, we also did the Eye of the Temple port on Quest, and we've also done some other contract work with another Munich-based company like us, the details of which you can see on our homepage. Drifters itself is funded through a mix of our own game revenues, some German federal funding, as well as some funding support from Meta. So that's a bit of an overview on our Sweet Surrender sales. Just want to recap a little bit of where we've been focusing our development this past week. Our main focus is getting ready for community playtests. We're still not quite ready, but we are squashing bugs as quickly as we can. We want to make sure that the first experience you get is not filled with bugs. On the feature side, we've been implementing and re-implementing our core mission objectives and energy collection behaviors. Until a few weeks ago, when you traverse the map, you were mainly trying to kill all the enemies around the main objective and then escape or extract. We've been working on adding a variety of objectives which tie the game experience closer to the energy collection feature, and also experimenting with different ways of traversing the map and discovering elements and objectives on the map. This has unfortunately led to a lot of refactors and some instability, but we are getting there. We're also improving our onboarding experience based on some of our previous internal playtests, as well as working on a first pass of our tutorial. We spent a lot of time working on performance, like targeting a standalone headset in VR with multiplayer at 72 frames is basically a never-ending topic for us. It's not something you can just do at the end of the project. It's a constant process. You have to plan around it. You have to constantly measure the impact of new changes. You got to do profiling on the headset. You got to track down various issues and then look for workarounds. Among the many things we've done in the last couple of weeks, we've massively reduced the poly count on some of our environments, including the skybox and terrain. We've also worked to reduce shader complexity. We've reduced the number of transparent objects in the game because this has a terrible impact on performance. We evaluated switching out our entire post-processing stack. We made a major Unity upgrade, which should unlock some further performance improvements. But we've been also heavily focused on improving the performance of our UI and our visor because it currently costs us up to 3 milliseconds per frame, which is quite a lot since we only have a budget of about 13 milliseconds each frame. This is quite a challenging area because it almost never leads to new features being implemented or just removing obstacles from releasing the game. Basically, you get to a point where the game runs again at 72 frames, and then you add a few new features, and then you gotta begin this whole process again. And I just wanted to share this a little bit because I don't think it's talked about enough, the challenges that VR and games in general face in terms of performance. That's pretty much it for today. As usual, let me know if you have any questions here in the comments or in our Discord. Questions about the game, about the games industry, about our studio, or the development process in general. I'll talk to you again soon.